Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Colton here. I know, long time no see, but here I am. And today Bob's not joining me, so you guys got me today. And today we're going to talk a little bit of Star Wars, as you know the title says. You got some Empire stuff from, well, ironically, yeah, the Empire's the bad guys, but the Empire magazine. We got some, ranking the video games too, and some other things that I got sprinkled in here for everything. So hopefully you enjoy the journey that we are having today. With that being said, make sure I'm going to get all this stuff out in the beginning. Make sure you check out, the Twitter, BridgingTheGeekdoms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all that fun stuff. Like to get that out of the way early in the show. But anyway, so let's dive into it. The first thing I got on the list today, which I'm pretty sure I don't know if Bob covered in his May the Fourth be with you special, but Carrie Fisher finally got her star on the Walk of Fame. Yeah, it's from StarWars.com. It was presented to Mark Hamill and Billy Lord, which is Carrie Fisher's daughter. But she finally got her star 6.5 years after she died. And a fitting tribute to Carrie Fisher, who played Princess and General Leia Organa in the original and sequel Star Wars trilogies. Family, friends, and fans gathered in Hollywood Thursday morning to unveil Fisher's star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Her daughter Billy Lord, who accepted the honor in her mother's absence, wore a gown featuring Leia in her iconic look, the princess and the rebel fighter with the two space buns from Star Wars: A New Hope, and glittery makeup that paid homage to Fisher's penchant, I don't know, to tossing glitter at fans during conventions and meet and greet. Now, if you guys don't know, Billy Lord, obviously Carrie Fisher's daughter, and Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, all around cool guy, accepted this star. But it's Billy Lord. She was also Lieutenant Connix in 7, 8, 9. Alongside with her mom, and in episode 9, you can kind of see her pay more homage to her mom from episode 6. But I mean, it's really touching. It's really nice. It's a shame that it was 6.5 years after she died. But all in all, I'm happy that she finally got it. She, very should have gotten it a long time ago with everything she's done with her and her mother. But it's nice to see that Carrie Fisher's finally being acknowledged for something. And lost my whole train of thought there. She's finally got the star, and in fitting fashion. No better a person than Mark Hamill and her daughter. Her and Mark. You don't think of Carrie Fisher without Mark Hamill, and you don't think Mark Hamill. Never mind, you think of him as the Joker or Luke. You don't think of him in Leia, but it's just nice to see that she finally got her star on the Walk of Fame. And now to the next thing I have here. Bob would know if he was here. I don't know if he has the second one, but he does have the first book in this series, From a Certain Point of View. I think it's called A New Hope, or maybe it's just From a Certain Point of View. I can't remember. And then the second one, I'm pretty sure it covers episode 5. I really should have prepared myself on the books. But anyway, From a Certain Point of View, Return of the Jedi is set to come out in August of 2023. I don't know what they would cover. Maybe, all the guys at Ewok, or all the Ewoks that ate all the stormtroopers. Actually thinking about that. That'd be really interesting to see a stormtrooper's perspective on how, maybe there was a stormtrooper abandoned on Endor, or maybe like, a stormtrooper story of an overnight, kind of given that horror feel that, Battlefront 2 tried to do. Well, it didn't really try. They did pretty good at it, but tried to give a nice story about like an actual survivor scenario from happened. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what happened there, but yeah, but it'd be cool to see. Maybe you can get some of the different pilots flying around during the final battle. Maybe you get some like random Imperial Guard during Luke and Darth Vader's fight. I mean, there's so much you can cover there. There's a lot in episode 6. You can even get like some of the people from Jabba's palace. You can get some guards there in the Sarlacc pit. That would be kind of badass. Maybe someone guarding Luke between 5 and 6. Well, maybe in the beginning of 6. Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities with that I never sat down and thought about. But that's gonna be kind of interesting to see. Uh, I mean, maybe even you can get a story about how Princess Leia got that bounty hunter idea. That'd be kind of cool to dive into. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities I never thought about with that. That's kind of interesting. But we'll move on. We'll move on. I'm rambling now. Uh, Empire, and the magazine Empire, they always do this summer thing with Star Wars that they dump a whole bunch of info about everything that could be happening and this, that, and the other. So I got some stuff for it, not too much. We'll dive into some of this first. We'll get to the future of Star Wars and some of the Ahsoka series. Oh, excuse me. But Kathleen Kennedy sat down with Empire and she gave a little dive into some of the behind the scenes stuff. Like, I don't know, maybe there's some Ray stuff, Ryan Johnson's trilogy, other things like that. So this is from the Star Wars Leaks Reddit. Yeah, it's Reddit. I know. I'm a nerd, but the leaks and Pure Besker has not proven me wrong yet. But here's what Kathleen Kennedy has said about some of the things that are going on behind the scenes for Ray's movie. The First Order has fallen. The Jedi are in chaos. There's even a question of how many exist anymore, which probably are little to none that are considered Jedi. I mean, they're all Force users, but no one's considered a Jedi. I'm not even Ray. Fight me. I don't care. And Ray's building, well, anyway, there's even a question of how many exist anymore. And Ray's building a new Jedi Order, which, kind of following what Luke did in, the non-canon universe now. But that new Jedi Order will be based on the text she was given and that Luke and given, if I could talk today, based on the text that she was given by Luke and that Luke's knowledge imparted on her. I kind of, did some of that because that was very poorly written. I just feel like they're trying to turn Ray into the the Legends Luke, and they should never do that because Ray will never be Luke in Legends. I don't even think canon Luke could be Luke in Legends, to be honest. He's so OP, it's not even funny. And I mean, we kind of see it already. Like, didn't Kylo Ren / Ben Skywalker or Ben Solo destroy the new Jedi Order? Is this just the new Jedi Order, or is this the Jedi Order squared to the third power or whatever? I don't care. I feel like we need a break from this sequel trilogy. The sequel trilogy has left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. And honestly, I don't think we need anything more from it for a couple years. Let's go back in time. Like, you have the High Republic, you have all this stuff that you're exploring in comics and books, which is cool and all. But I feel like you can give a movie, you can give a Knights of the Old Republic movie that everybody's begging for, that no one will like because it'll never live up to the expectations that the video games have given and everybody else's preconceived expectations of what it should be. It'll never live up to that, so everybody will hate it, no matter how good it'll be. That's neither here nor there, but that's just the reality of that. But I think we need to go back in time more and establish maybe some other lore-based things before we go and start trying to do stuff that doesn't make sense with the new Jedi Order. I don't understand it. I think that's the wrong direction. I think, especially with Daisy, well, not Daisy Ridley herself, but the character Rey as a whole, just shouldn't just the whole sequel trilogy. We need to step back from that for a second. Let it simmer down a little bit, and then go back to it. Ryan, then Kathleen Kennedy dives into Ryan Johnson's trilogy. Ryan and I talk all the time. He just keeps getting more and more successful. Not in the Star Wars series, and keeps moving things back further and further. One day we'll figure this out. So, I mean, not necessarily a bad thing. He really kind of just, for lack of a better term, shit all over the Star Wars sequel trilogy with the 8th one, or the middle one, I guess, Last Jedi. I don't feel like he should. I mean, maybe if he has his own trilogy, maybe let him contain his own little story. Again, with the heat episode 8 got and the whole sequel trilogy, I would again step away from anybody associated with it for 5 years. Let that all simmer down, kind of let the Mandalorian and all the other stuff that they have going on do its thing, and then go into back into the sequel, anything associated with the sequel trilogy, whether it's directors, anything associated with the sequel trilogy, whether it's directors, characters, whatever. Step away from it, let it die down a little bit. They did it with the prequel trilogy, and everybody apparently loves them, even though everybody shit on them. Maybe we need to do that again. I can't pronounce his name. Taka Waititi. I don't know. I'm just going to pronounce it wrong. I'm sorry in advance. We'll just get that out of the way. If I'm pronouncing it right, cool. I don't really care. Taka is working away. Oh my God. If I could read today, I'm having such a time today. Taka is working away. He's just, and he won't get mad at me for saying this, slow. We got a couple acts. We just need a third. I mean, I don't want to even see this. The way he treated Thor for the past two Thor videos, or the last two Thor films, I don't want Star Wars to be a joke. I don't need Disney humor. Episode 9 had enough Disney humor for the entire series. I don't need any more. And apparently that's all he specializes in. Thor 3 made Thor a joke. Thor 3 was so bad, I don't care to see Thor 4, and still have not seen Love and Thunder. I don't want to. This isn't really Star Wars or Marvel or anything related. Jojo Rabbit was hilarious, but only because he made Hitler a joke. That's neither here nor there. I don't feel like we need a Disney comedy film. We don't need it. Star Wars is, in the fans' eyes, enough of a joke as is. Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, all that stuff's starting to repair it. Please, God, don't let him do anything to it. Then Kathleen Kennedy also spoke about Lando and the Rogue Squadron. The Rogue Squadron's been in, purgatory hell for production purgatory for I don't even know how long, and I didn't even know they were making a Lando book or Lando film, to be honest, or a Lando series or whichever. But anyway, Kennedy dives in and says Lando is still on the books and Rogue Squadron's still on the books. We just want them to be great. So I don't know if they're stuck in rewrites. Maybe they just can't figure out how to make it flow. I don't know. She doesn't really dive too much into it. And also spoke about wanting to eventize Star Wars, and it's much better to tell the truth in that we're going to make these films when they're ready to be made and release them when they're ready to be released. Well, that's nice. They're taking they're taking the opposite of the Marvel approach, which isn't a bad thing. Marvel has suffered, especially in special effects, because they're just pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping. I'd much rather get one or two films, not even two films, give me one a year, especially right now when they don't really have a direction. I'm talking a little bit about Marvel now. They don't really have a direction or anything. So just take your time, put out a good film, and call it a day. I'd much rather see one good film than 5 shit. And I think Star Wars, especially Star Wars, focusing around special effects and story, it's not like Marvel where they can pull storylines. It's basically written. They just have to adapt the script. Star Wars, they have to write it and, actually make a coherent story that falls into the canon. Don't just churn and burn these things out. Make them worth my time for watching. I don't have much time to go do really anything anymore. So if I'm going to take 2-3 hours out of my day to go watch a Star Wars movie, it better be good. But also, now that's a whole tangent in and of itself. Dave Filoni was also there. He was, given a few questions and, whatever. Dave Filoni, there's a lot of factors, especially in playing with a character like Timothy Zahn's Thrawn. I want to make sure that I'm honoring ideas that Tim had, so I want to see what's in his books for the story. In The Bad Batch, there's actually some crossover with the book Heir to the Empire in the military base of Tantus. I'm really bad with names. I'm just going to apologize about that now. So there are little things along the way that I've built across different mediums, all in preparation for things that are to come. That's actually, Dave Filoni doing Dave Filoni and keeping Star Wars in mind always. Don't just bring stuff out of the blue. It connects at some point in time here. Now, the interviewer for Empire, I'm not sure what their name was. I didn't catch your name. I don't think it's mentioned in this thread here. They asked, do you see Thrawn as a big bad in the New Republic era? Is that how you're positioning him? In my eye, definitely in my eyes, Filoni replies, which good because I mean, you can keep introducing new characters, but kind of like in the same thing Marvel, they need to rely on someone who's been there kind of in the background, never really been focused on. And I mean, I think he'd be kind of old in the New Republic, but I mean, Thrawn is an alien too. I'm not too versed in how old they can get. He would be perfect for, yeah. Rey may be a Force user and quote unquote Jedi. That's neither here nor there. Thrawn is legitimately like a badass like military leader. He plans. He doesn't lose a lot in anything, canon, non-canon. He knows what he's doing. He doesn't need to have the abilities that Rey has or a Jedi or whatever to still make him a threat. Which, with not much being around during the New Republic, considering the New Republic and the First Order and the Last Order devastated each other. I mean, I don't know where he would come from. I don't know where his military would come from. But it would make sense for him to come back and be the big bad. I mean, maybe not the super big bad. He's never going to be a Palpatine level bad or, Force user bad. But he could be a very big main character in the New Republic. If in Rey series or film trilogy or whatever they choose to do with her. He was also asked, what is it like when Kathleen Kennedy asked you to make a Star Wars film? He replied, I don't assume anything. I don't think that I deserve anything. Kathy, upon seeing my work in the live action realm, was like, Dave, we need you to do a movie. That makes perfectly good sense. You don't even have to read anything else there. That's a good call by Kathleen Kennedy. I know she gets a lot of heat for a bunch of things, but I feel like she did the right thing here. She, is a big supporter of him. I mean, Dave Filoni has never proven us wrong. Just look at what he's done with The Mandalorian and pretty much really anything Star Wars. He's not done wrong in the eyes of the fans. And then he was finally, and this final question here, he began it. If I could talk, he was asked. It began on the big screen for you in 2008's The Clone Wars movie. That was really bad. What will it mean for you to see directed by Dave Filoni on the big screen again? It's very special. The first time I remember as a kid noting the term directed by was directed by George Lucas. That was the thing I never lose sight of. This is George's galaxy. I just try to learn as much about it so I can execute on it faithfully. And then hopefully expand and add new things with everybody else. What a fun galaxy it is. And that is very Dave Filoni-esque. He's always tried to stay true to the universe, and I don't think he'd ever try to knowingly betray the universe. So I have no worries about his film. He can do whatever he wants, and I'm pretty sure he wouldn't. He'd have to try to screw it up, to be honest. So here we are moving on to the Ahsoka information here. The Ghost family. I was the Ahsoka cast. The Ghost family. It's the through. Jesus, I cannot talk today. I'm sorry. I really am. It's the through line of the show, says Winston of the Ghost Crew. The strength that we need to get through what they're facing requires them to come back together and redefine that family. This time it isn't centered on blood relatives. I like that there isn't any structure to this, Dawson says. There's no boss over them. There's no one telling them what they have to do. This is a carryover from Rebels. These are people who are true believers, who have put themselves on the line, sacrificed everything to be together, and who create this chosen family on the mission that they've decided that they need to be on. That makes it very special. I guess the ghost from Rebels is going to be in the Ahsoka show. I haven't really had time to read too much on Ahsoka, but it's kind of interesting. So a very good question that was asked. Obviously, it's going to cater more to Rebels fans, but it shouldn't alienate anybody new, which makes sense. And the show had a practical loft cat. That was my little buddy, Laugh Bordizzo. That cat has complexity of the design. I mean, it is a real skeleton under there, because that's how they control such intense facial expressions and everything. If you thought Baby Yoda's reaction shots broke the internet, just you wait. It would snarl and look cute, says Dawson. Really, the details next level. The gauntlet has been thrown down. Move over, Grogu. So apparently there's another animatronic in here that's going to make make Grogu look bad. So that's kind of interesting because Grogu in The Mandalorian does look really good for being practical. I mean, you could tell there's some stuff in here that's, but for the most part, Grogu does look very smooth in The Mandalorian. So if there is that cat can look really good, I mean, that's exciting. I'm glad that we're going back to practical effects instead of using CGI all the time. I'm not going to knock CGI, but again, going back to Marvel, that's why you could use more practical effects than practical as opposed to CGI. So here we go. We're moving on to this other point that we have here. There's also Andor Season 2 Acolyte Skeleton Crew news from Empire. So we'll dive into this. The Acolyte. Kill Bill meets Frozen. I actually like that. Hopefully it's not as gory. I don't think they would last too long in a Star Wars world if it was that gory. That was the one line, back of the envelope, sums it up, forward summary. Sum it up in forward summary that showrunner and filmmaker Leslie Headland used to make her pitch for The Acolyte. It's sort of a joke, she says, speaking to Empire, but it was my elevator pitch to Kathy Kennedy. I want it to be a revisionist version of the female villains that you see in a fairy tale media and tell it through that lens. Just like Frozen reimagined Han Christian Andersen's The Snow Queen with a more ambiguous take on the icy antagonist, so the Acolyte aims to look at the bad guys of Star Wars in a different light, which I like that idea, and also blending in samurai influence fight scenes, because I think that honestly we could use that kind of twist, like. If you really want to go there, you could kind of see it with Maul. He's a bad guy in episode 1, justifiably. And then you see through the Clone Wars and Clone Wars season 7, was it 7? I think is the last season. He starts to twist, and yeah, he's not completely a good guy. He's more of a chaotic neutral. And even in the Rebels, he's not necessarily the bad guy we thought he was. He's definitely changed, and I wouldn't say he's a good guy, but he's nowhere near as bad as he used to be, up until his end. So I think having stuff like that would be interesting take in a live action take. Because, again, most casual Star Wars fans have not seen the Clone Wars. They just go and see the films, and that's about all they know of it. Maybe they read a book or two. Maybe they catch a couple episodes. But for the most part, that's about all they get to look at. God, I hope I just read this. What is an action sequence if not a musical number? Okay, I misread that. I thought there was a musical number. I was like, dear God, no, please don't make a Star Wars musical. And she dives in. The series looks to answer one question. How did the Sith infiltrate the highest echelons of the Republic without anybody even blinking an eye? The answer involves a lot of Jedi, which would be interesting, a series of crimes, CSI Jedi. That'd be kind of cool. A murder mystery Jedi film. That would be kind of cool where they track down a Sith. I mean, okay, the Acolyte can go into that. Acolyte, whatever. I know I'm pronouncing that different every time I say it. The show revolves around a former Padawan reuniting with her Jedi Master, played by, I'm assuming that's going to be a misspell, Amanda Steinberg, Bodies, and Lee Jung-jae. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, from Squid Games. And so we got the cast here that we know of. Charlie Bennett as a Jedi. He's not allowed to say what ranking he is of a Jedi, but he's a Jedi. Daphne Keene as a half alien, half human bi-species Jedi. Thielen? Daphne's character would definitely kick my ass. It looks like she's a magenta scale. Looks like she's the stripper from episode 6, that species. Rebecca Henderson as Vernestra Rowe. Probably butchered that one. Dean Charles Chapman as a Jedi with gray hair. A Wookiee Jedi. Oh, that's kind of cool. I mean, we've never seen a Wookiee Jedi except for, what was it, the Junior Jedi? I can't remember the exact book series, but Chewbacca's nephew, he becomes a Jedi and he has like a scarlet. It's not red, but he has a scarlet lightsaber. Kind of cool. I would look forward to seeing that. I wonder what lightsaber color he would have. Carrie-Ann Moss will also be playing a Jedi. Turner Smith confirms her own character has a decent midichlorian count too. I do use the Force, she reveals, but she's just a Force user. The Good Place is Manny Jacinto. Man, I wish Bob was here to help pronounce all these names. Plays just a regular guy. And that's, about all we have for that. And it dives in a little bit more about Headline, who was a Star Wars obsessed fan growing up, wrote a bunch of fan fiction, which is always cool. I mean, you'd love to see that from people that are getting involved in Star Wars, that they're lifetime fans. It may not be the best work, but I mean, I'd much rather see someone who is trying their best to stay loyal and do what they love and be part of a series that they love. So here we are with the Skeleton Crew. Ford on the kids. I'm not sure what they have about Ford. If you heard a beep, I'm sorry. I think my Astro is going. I can't really control that. He just does his own thing. But overall, there are all kids looking for an adventure. To them, their plan is normal, and they want more. But that's not always a good thing to want. The way Kathy explained Amblin to us is that never thought Amblin to us was that they never thought of those as kids' movies, says Ford. They just happen to have kids, so all the stakes are as real as possible. The kids think they're in Andor. Oh, so that's kind of cool. Oh, Jesus. So there's plenty of comedy in the show. I really don't need that. I don't need that at all. It looks like it just dives into how Jude Law handles the kids on the set, and that's kind of cool. Now we're on to Andor season 2. I don't think Andor is going to get a season 3 based on how this ends. Basically, all this does is it talks about some of the other things. It looks like Mon's starting to develop into her character. Mon Mothma is developing into her character, and kind of builds up, and you see the rise of the rebellion. And also with this, the final 3 episodes cover the 3 days before Rogue One, so it doesn't look like Rogue One's going to get a season 3. It doesn't look like it's going to get too much. It looks like that's the cover of the summer summer of Star Wars cover. Jesus. But yeah, there's not really too much about it. Let's just Andor season 2 is going to end 3 days before Rogue One, so I don't think a season 3 is going to come. And if you think Rogue One 2 is going to come out, just watch Star Wars Episode 4. You won't be disappointed. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot to cover. There was a decent amount here. I feel like I did kind of breeze over it. I'm sorry if I'm monotoned. I didn't plan on reading that much, to be honest, but there was a lot to cover, and I feel like we covered a good chunk of it. Now on to probably what everybody's been waiting for, or not. I don't know. We're going to start ranking some of the Star Wars video games. Now, some of these I haven't played, and I'm going to put the ones I haven't played in the F tier. Does not necessarily mean that they're F, but if I haven't played them, I'm sorry, I can't rank them. There are, I'm not sure, probably like 30 games here, so yeah, let's dive into them. Now, first one, The Force Unleashed. Now, I think all the versions of Force Unleashed are on here. I know it looks like it 1, 2, and 3. Each version of The Force Unleashed actually had different missions and stuff. So, if I'm not mistaken, the Wii one is going to go C. The extra mission that was different from the other versions was not that great. The motion controls are awful. And if it wasn't for just the motion controls, or if it wasn't for the motion control, or Jesus, if it wasn't for the story, or the overall story of Star Killer, it would be D. It's bad. And the Wii should have, in my opinion, never came out. It was not a finished console. It should have been better. Now we'll go on to the next one, Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga. Now I am a fan of Lego games. I have all of them. Yes, I'm 27 and I still play them. Don't judge. They're fun. I'm gonna put this at. Should I put it at A or B? I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say. No, yeah, no, yeah. We'll put A. It was really good. It combined Lego Star Wars 1 and 2. You know, this was before DLCs and all that stuff. This was like 2009, I think. You know, DLCs weren't really big. There weren't updates like we do now. It was one came out, Lego Star Wars 1 came out, Lego Star Wars 2 came out, Lego Star Wars 2 obviously being better than 1, and then the complete saga came out. This was also before 7, 8, 9, and before the Clone Wars. And combined the two games, brought what was good from from Lego Star Wars 1 and brought it into Lego Star Wars 2 and Lego Star Wars Complete Saga. It was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. See, Lego Star Wars 3. I got to put that as an A also. It does a good job of, you know, bringing the Clone Wars to the Lego Star Wars series. You have some ground battles and stuff like that, and I thought it was an overall decent adaptation of the Clone Wars. I feel like I wouldn't have named it Lego Star Wars 3, but I would have probably, you know, gave it the Clone Wars. It was interesting. I thought it was a thorough game. I mean, I'll give a disclaimer. They are really easy, but after a long day at work, you don't want to play anything super hard. Just because it's a Wii game again. The Force Unleashed 2, actually D, because the Force Unleashed 2 should have just been a DLC for Force Unleashed 1. Nothing was really added. The story was a DLC story, and they released it as a full game. The Force Unleashed 2 sucks. Angry Birds, just a neutral C. Same thing, Angry Birds, a neutral C. Elite Squadron, I don't think I've ever played Elite Squadron. I don't think I've ever played that one. I think it was for the PSP. I don't know. I don't think I've ever played that one. Never played that. I've never even heard of that. Fallen Jedi Order, I'm going to give it an A tier only because the story's great. We get, you know, the spoiler at the end. I mean, the sequel just came out, so I'll spoil it. Vader's in the end. The story is really good, but I feel like the gameplay, it's just super repetitive. The maps, you don't really go anywhere new. You just keep exploring the same maps. Like I said, gameplay is repetitive. And honestly, I'm so tired of the trope of how can a trained Jedi, not double jump or use any force abilities? And I get it, you have to progress through the game. It's a progression thing, but you're telling me he literally can't do anything? That just makes no sense to me. Dark Forces, I don't remember ever playing that. That looks like it's an older game. I am relatively young. There's some games on here that everybody's gonna go, "Oh, did you not play that?" No. I'm sorry, I'm young. I'm sorry. Force Unleashed 2, again, D tier, even though it's a 360. The DLCs were fine, like for all the rest of them. Again, D tier. They're okay. I wouldn't say I wouldn't go and spend the price that everybody paid for them. It's a DLC. The DLCs are cool, but eh. The Force Unleashed for the 360. This is the one I'm more familiar with and have more fond memories of. I'm going to give it over the Wii. I'm going to give it a B. Only because the controls make more sense on the 360. The DLC were better on the 360. I don't think the Wii even got the DLC. And the graphics were better, gameplay was better. It was just an all-around better put together version of the game. Now, it was missing I think it has a different mission than the Wii one, but overall, it's just a better feeling game. Let's see. Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. It's been so long since I played this one. I'm gonna give it a B. It was if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember if it was the first one or the second one. It may have been both of them, but it was like you could go around just cutting off limbs off of everybody, and it was super cool. I remember being super young and being like, "Wow!" Oh, hold on, that was a really bad one, wasn't? Wow. Never even heard of that one. Again, it looks older. Let's see. Put that one on the same length. I can't tell if that's the same game or not. Looks like it. It might be the sequel. I'm sorry. It's the same game. It's getting the same ranking. Jedi Power Battles. I remember this one for PS1. This is one of the first Star Wars games I've ever played. Power Battles. It had Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, Plo Koon. I can't remember that one other Jedi. She had a red lightsaber, but they kept saying it was Scarlet. It was a PS1 game. It wasn't, that great, but I'm going to give it a C just for nostalgia. I had a really fun time playing that on PS1. No clue what I was doing, no clue what the story was, but I was just wrecking shop. Knights of the Old Republic, obviously S tier, is regarded as one of the best video games ever created. It's a great RPG. Everybody knows Coder. I can't speak enough for it. And the same thing with Coder 2. It somehow improved on the first one. And normally sequels, when the first one's good, it falls off. No, this one, the sequel, is right on par with the first one. Complete Saga, obviously. Lego Star Wars 3. Don't know why they're on here twice. Lego Star Wars Episode 7. I'm going to give this one a C. I couldn't not get into that Lego game. I don't know if it was just the open worldness or maybe I don't know. Maybe I couldn't get into that one. The Skywalker Saga, unpopular opinion, I'm going to give this one an A. I thought it wrapped up the whole series really well. The menus were a little confusing, but for a Lego game, you can't really do too much innovation, but it brought a lot more characters. It told the stories a lot better. You had the throwback characters, unlockables. You had all the open world to explore. I thought it tied together everything really nicely. Well, I don't think I've ever played that one, so it's going to go into an F tier. Just for a record, my F tier is haven't played. D is bad. C is neutral. B is pretty good. A is pretty all right. S tier is S tier. Road Leader, never played it. I'm not sure. I think this is the PC version. I'm pretty sure the PC version and the 360 versions were the same. Rogue Squadron. I can't remember if I've ever played that one. I don't think I did. I want to say I did. I think it was for the 64. I can't remember. I probably have. Some of these, I got a lot going on. Some of these I can't ever remember what I did or what I haven't done. Star Wars Starfighter, never played it. Empire at War. I think I've played it. I can't remember. Empire at War, I think it was on the 64. If it's the game I'm thinking of, it was fun. It was a good time. 64 graphics. Believe it or not, I still prefer the 64 graphics, even compared to some of today's games. But I think you flew around in an X-Wing and just kind of shot at everything. Republic Commando. I'm going to give it an A tier, mainly because it was just a fun game. You basically just were Republic Commandos going on covert missions, just finding out some stuff, going in there. And some of your consequences, like you actually had to you actually had to lead your team. And there was consequences if you messed around and found out. This one, Kinect game. Kinect was about as bad as the Wii. None of the controls ever mattered, and none of it ever followed what you did. That's made the game damn near unplayable. Oh, the Clone Wars. I'm going to give this one a B tier. I very, very vividly remember this. It took place, not in depth as the Clone Wars series, but you did fly around on Geonosis, kind of fighting in the first battle of the Clone Wars. It was fun. Graphics could have held up a little bit better, and some of the story didn't really make that much sense to me, but it was okay. I wouldn't give it. I mean, it could go either B or C for me, to be honest. I have not played the online one, the Old Republic. I'm not really into the MMO scene as much as I used to be. So I've never really checked it out. I do think it looks interesting. I don't know if, well, I think all the cutscenes that you see online are from the Old Republic. Sorry, excuse me. But I don't ever remember. I'm not really into the MMO scene, so I haven't played it. But the cutscenes look really dope. X-Wing Alliance, I've never played. That one I've never played. Battle of Naboo, I've never played. Renegade Squadron, I'm gonna give it a C. It was fun. Again, I think it was on the PSP, and I couldn't really like. Republic Commando was good. Renegade Squadron, it was just a watered down Battlefront. Battlefront 20. What was that one? 2016, 17, something around there. It was a cash grab. It was nothing more than we're gonna smack Battlefront on front of something. Gameplay is not going to be anything like and you're going to get over it, and you're going to pay for loot boxes. And well, not pay for loot boxes, but this game was garbage, and I'm still disappointed I spent money on it. It was so bad, and it was nothing more than we're going to put Battlefront on a turd. Now, the exact opposite of that, get away, ad. I don't want you. Star Wars the OG Star Wars Battlefront 2. That game, oh, I've spent so many hours with that game. That game was so fun. And anybody that's old enough to remember, actually, there's still an avid fan base of this game. I mean, there's tons of mods for it still now, but that game has had so many fond memories. It is so fun, and if you haven't played it, I recommend checking it out. It still holds up. I wish I could find my old memory card that had all my unlockables on it, to be honest. Let's see, Star Wars Oh no, what did I do? Oh no, what did I do? Oh no, oh no. Oh, what did I do? Oh, I did something. Oh, what did I do? What did I do? I don't know what I just did. Oh, okay. Well, whatever I did, I must have accidentally pressed the back button. Let's see. Now, where did I drop this at? Now, the first... Sorry about that. Bob, can you edit that out? If not, it's okay. The original Star Wars Battlefront, not the turd that I've just put in D, is an A. Because I did like the maps. I wish some of the maps would have came back for Battlefront 2, like the Naboo Plains map. The Bespin, I can't remember if it was Cloud City, I'm pretty sure it was called when it came back. That would have been fun. But it really laid the groundwork, and I don't feel like it gets enough credit that Battlefront 2 gets. It laid the groundwork for what made Battlefront 2 phenomenal. Most people don't acknowledge that. Star Wars Bounty Hunter, I don't think I've ever played. Episode 3, I'm going to give it a C. That game was just fucking hard. It's a retelling of Episode 3, and it released I can't remember. It was a couple days or maybe 2 weeks before Episode 3 even released. And it spoiled everything. It was obviously Episode 3. But it kept in the cutscenes and everything. But that game was so hard. Maybe it was just because I was younger and didn't really know what I was doing. But god damn, that game was hard. And it had an alternate ending where Anakin killed Obi-Wan and Palpatine. Jedi Starfighter, never played. It is on my playlist. I bought it for the PS4 and /5. Star Wars Obi-Wan, never played. I've never even Racer Revenge, never heard of that. Never heard of Rebel Strike. Squadrons, I'm going to give it a solid B. For a VR game where you are actually flying a TIE fighter and an X-Wing, it's fun. It's the controls are a little wonky. I'm going to blame it on PlayStation VR. But you are pretty much you could look around in there and everything is accurate and it looks and flies and plays exactly how it should. I don't think it got enough respect that it should have gotten, but the game was fun. I've never played it, but I'm just going to put it in a D. It's the Clone Wars game, and it was for a Wii. I'm sure the controls were bad, and yeah, And same thing with this one. I've never played it, but again, another D. It's probably bad. X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. That sounds interesting. That sounds like a flying game, probably for the 64. Again, SNES game I've never played. Return of the Jedi, Super Empire Strikes Back. I heard that game was kind of hard. Star Wars Episode 4, probably just Star Wars, Super Nintendo game. Again, I'm young. I've never played most of those. Star Wars Battlefront 2, I'm going to give it a C. When this game first released, it was a cash grab. You're going to pay for the loot boxes, and we're going to give you an unfinished game. After that being said, and the fan backlash, and they tanked the game, when they took away the loot boxes and started adding all kinds of free stuff, it was a really good game. And I feel like the fans abandoned it justifiably in the beginning, but now it's a really good game, and it's the game it should have been at launch. And I recommend everybody to check it out. It's a really fun game. Let's see. Galactic Battlegrounds, never played, but that sounds fun. Racer's on my list to play. I still haven't played it. TIE Fighter, still have not played it. Episode 1, I'm going to give it a D ranking, only because, again, I was young. It was a PS1 game, and I was young, and I just didn't know what to do. I never made it off of the capital ship in the beginning of the film, or I guess game. I just never did. I couldn't figure it out. The instructions were unclear. Again, I was like 5, maybe 6. I just couldn't. To me, it just didn't make sense to me. I couldn't figure it out. And then last but not least, I know it's a little bit of a letdown, never played the X-Wing game. So I feel like my list is pretty solid. Again, F is haven't played, so that's why there's so many in there. I have not played these games. They're not that they're bad. I just have not played. D is my bottom tier. Those games are bad. C are okay. B is pretty all right. A is good, and S is phenomenal, obviously. But if you guys have any problems with my ranking, let me know in the comments below, or on BridgingTheGeekdoms Twitter or Instagram, or just at me WhiteRuby53 everywhere. And with that being said, it's been a fun episode. I hope you guys had fun. Sorry if I bored you. Feel like we had a good time here, and we'll see you in the next one.